Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Closers, brought to you by Man Cave Sports. I am the DA, and with me always the man, the myth, the legend, the Greek supreme man, James Gludianos. Greek, how are you doing?
I'm doing great now that you can remember who brought you to the show.
It took me a shot. Like, that was the second attempt at it, and I screwed up within the first 5 seconds. And I don't know what this is, but James, I'm going to be playing with this the whole time. I found it on my desk. I think it was JD's. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Do you know what? I don't know. No idea what that is.
I haven't the slightest clue, pal. And for those of you who don't know, JD is my new client, my baseball client, who I've already signed a deal with him at the age of 9, and I'll be getting 20% of his future earnings.
He didn't sign the deal. We didn't agree to it. You can't prove it.
I have an oral agreement, and I have witnesses, so 20% is mine.
You don't know, man. Maybe football now. Quarterback, he's doing pretty well. We'll see where this goes.
He's too good looking and too smart to be a quarterback. Come on, what are you doing?
He takes that helmet off and he gets the hair flowing. He is into his hair. And he's going to have the best shoe deal ever because he is so into shoes. He's going to have custom cleats nonstop.
No, he will not. Well, he's definitely going to have nonstop awesome cleats. But he's going to be a Griffey client.
I was about to say that. He has to be swingman. There's no doubt he's going to have a custom swingman. And we will get that done.
I love the fact that your son has never seen Griffey play. Well, he saw him play, but he was really, really young. The fact that that's still his favorite player is pretty amazing.
He wasn't alive when I played with him. DZ's met him. Junior held DZ, tons of times. My older son, but not JD. JD wasn't even alive yet, man. He was a Yankee when I had him. Now, Ichiro.
Think about the fact that his favorite player is a guy that he never saw play. That's pretty awesome.
Right? That's pretty cool, man. It shows the generations. It's how amazing Junior is and what he does. But a couple other guys that are amazing, that are having incredible seasons this year. We talked last show about the NL MVP race and where that's at, and we both agreed it's pretty much done, sealed done, and it's Ohtani. There's no one else that's even coming close to what Ohtani's doing. AL's a little different. There's one man kind of pulling away, but there are some dudes that we still have to talk about and see and how their season's going, compare them and look at it. It is the AL race. I'm going to give you 4 names here, and I think number 1 is the guy who's going to win it. We're going to talk about this, but Aaron Judge kind of pulling away for sure. Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, and Aaron Judge's teammate Juan Soto. James, on the outside looking in, very first impression of this, who are you voting for?
There's no question. It's going to be Judge. Now, I can make an educated argument for somebody else, but there's really no way that Judge loses this.
There's no way Judge loses this. That's the thing about it, is what Judge is doing. We talked about this a little bit with Ohtani. Ohtani still has some of these milestones that he's hitting, right? And he's still doing things that we haven't seen before. The 50-50, now maybe almost 55-55. And the things that he's doing is pretty remarkable and milestone-ish. Judge is becoming Trout, to where it's becoming this kind of standard, where it's no longer crazy fanfare. He does get the fanfare because he's a New York Yankee, and he's great, but he's starting to get the Trout treatment, where we look at Trout's numbers and we're like, okay, just another good year. And then you don't realize across the league, it's not even close, and how good of a ball player he is. So right now, when we go on to Baseball Reference on Stathead Baseball, and we're comparing these 4 players, right? Again, Aaron Judge, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr., and Juan Soto. It's pretty much runs away. There's two guys that are head and shoulder above the rest, and that's Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt is a little bit more of an all-around ball player, right? He's shortstop. He's got 30 bags. He's leading in hits, leading in average. But Judge is leading in the big boy numbers, right? The home runs, RBIs, slugging it is not even close between him and anybody else. OPS plus, and WAR, Judge is full game above the rest. But in your opinion, how does Bobby Witt compare to Aaron Judge?
So this is a tough one because Bobby Witt any other year would win the MVP kind of hands down. He's the first back-to-back 30-30 player in Major League Baseball history. He is leading the league in hitting. I mean, what he's doing is remarkable, and he's a shortstop. If Judge wasn't so damn good, if he wasn't going after 60 home runs, and if he wasn't in New York, it would be a lot closer. The difference between the two, though, is, and this is why I could actually make a case for Bobby Witt, is the Royals weren't supposed to compete at all this year. They were supposed to be near the bottom. And the fact that when we're recording, they're in a playoff spot just speaks to how unbelievably good Bobby Witt and Seth Lugo, by the way, who deserves a lot of credit too. The fact that they've been so good and they've brought this team into the playoffs gives me a reason to vote for Bobby Witt.
Yes, and that's a big thing about this is we talked about this the NL side. Most valuable, right? Not best, most valuable. And Bobby Witt certainly has a monster argument there. And that's probably actually one of his best arguments, is the fact that what he means to this team and how this is his third major league season. He was fourth in rookie of the year, his rookie year. I was going to say freshman year. He was seventh in the MVP last year, and he's probably going to end up second in MVP this year. But he has been an absolute intricate part of this Royals team and put them in the forefront. We thought, the talking heads, me included, we all thought they were going to be about a 500 team. Absolutely improved, and I really like the things they did in the bullpen, which is funny because that's probably one of the weaker points on the team. But this lineup has absolutely stepped up. That starting pitching, especially early in the season, has been crazy, really good. But they had put themselves in an incredible spot, and a lot of it has to do with this man, Bobby Witt Jr., and what he's doing, how he's controlling the team, how he's being a leader. Shortstop, obviously, is always a huge position. And I look at it, and the way I think about this is, if he wasn't on the team, where would they be? And they would be an absolute mess, right? They'd be back to where we thought they would be. Now you look at Aaron Judge, and you say, if Aaron Judge wasn't on this team, where would they be? And to me, we know exactly where they would be. They would not be in the playoff time. They might be right there. They might be right in on the edge of it, in a wild card area maybe, but they are not in a position where they are leading the AL East, and they're probably going to be winning the AL East. And we can't look at this and say, if Aaron Judge wasn't on this team, like they wouldn't be anywhere. They wouldn't be anywhere in contention. Now, Juan Soto, obviously, crazy helps that out. But still, then it would be Juan Soto and nobody else. And we've seen what that looked like with the Yankees before, and it's really not that impressive when it was just Judge. If it was just Juan Soto, it really wouldn't be that impressive. Now that it's Aaron Judge and Juan Soto together, that's the one difference maker this team has, is actually two good bats. But Aaron Judge, just above and beyond and what he's doing, how he's controlling ball games, how he's just stepped up in every single statistical place. He's a monster leader. I don't even think this is close, James.
No, I don't think it's close either. Like I said, I can make an argument, but it's not a great one, unfortunately, because Judge is so damn good. Now, what's starting to really piss me off is the fact that Judge is in New York, and all the time, all you hear about is Judge, and it's just absolutely crazy. And I'm really starting to hate the New York media, to be honest with you. I mentioned this on a previous show, but in this case, it's pretty apropos. Judge is the guy.
Judge is the guy. Now, what's always an interesting argument, right? We talked about Ohtani on the National League side and what he means to the game and how he is absolutely revolutionizing the game and hitting milestones. Let's talk about these two guys, right? So we're both walking away saying Judge and Ohtani. I am seeing on X just nonstop Yankee fans and Yankee media saying, why are we sleeping on Aaron Judge? Why are we only talking about Ohtani? Why is it always Ohtani? And when you compare these two guys, it's kind of crazy. Like, Aaron Judge runs away with a lot of it. Runs away with all the stats, the big boy stats, right? Like, so Ohtani has more hits, but he has more bats at the same time, so it's kind of negligible. But Judge has more home runs, many more RBIs, batting average is significantly higher, 20 points higher, OPS is significantly higher, OPS plus is significantly higher. Ohtani basically has more hits and stolen bases. James, why? Because I know where we stand on this, right? I know where we both stand on it with Ohtani, and I'm going to probably take Judge's side on this and play devil's advocate here. But why would you say Ohtani and what he's doing this season is more significant than what Aaron Judge is doing?
Because in 50 years, you're going to look back and you're going to say, Ohtani did something that nobody's ever done, and Judge just had a really good year. What we're seeing from Ohtani is legendary from a guy who came into the league as a pitcher. And he's not even pitching and he's doing this. That's where everybody forgets. The big thing is he's a pitcher. He's rehabbing from an injury, and he's a first 50-50 guy. This is the peak of Aaron Judge. We haven't seen the peak of Shohei Ohtani because, yeah, we're seeing 50-50. But what if next year he goes 40-40 and also wins a Cy Young?
Now, I'm going to say this, but Aaron Judge has more home runs, right? More power, more OPS. He's getting on base more. He seems to make more of an impact than Ohtani. Yes, Ohtani has more stolen bases, but how do you compare that to where Judge is just crushing him from on base slugging OPS standpoint? He is absolutely crushing Ohtani at a 1.154 to a 1.023, right? So Aaron Judge is just dominating all these stats. Why are we not talking about Aaron Judge more?
Well, I think we are talking about Aaron Judge plenty. As you can see, everybody's on Twitter going all over the place. Aaron Judge. We're talking about him plenty. I just think people are disrespecting Ohtani a little bit. That's all.
That's
it.
I'm going to say this too. I think while Aaron Judge is having this incredible year, it is an incredible year. It is, again, you look at it and say, man, this is one of the best years of a Yankee, one of the best years of Aaron Judge will ever have in his career. 2 years ago was absolutely insane with what he did. What he's doing this year is nuts as well. But when we look at it, and I think you hit it on the head, when you look at this from a historical standpoint, Ohtani and what he is doing this year, we will remember, we will talk about, we will look back and say, I remember when Ohtani hit 50-50. And that's the difference. Is the combination of speed and power. It is the opposites, the great opposites in our game. Power is supposed to be the big, powerful guy. Speed is supposed to be the little, fast kid. Shohei Ohtani is combining both. And there's only been 2 times in Major League history where a player has been first or second in home runs and first and second in stolen bases. And they happened in 1908 and 1909. So this might be the 3rd time in Major League Baseball history, and it was Ty Cobb and Honus Wagner. And their home runs those years were 9 home runs and 10 home runs. But again, 9 home runs led the league in 1909, and then 1908, 10 home runs led the league. And so that, yes, slight difference in baseball. But when you're looking at this and saying that's only happened 2 times in Major League history, it's going to happen most likely will happen a 3rd time. And Shohei Ohtani is just... It's the ultimate combination, and that's the difference. Is that's why we're going to talk about it in historical context versus a very, 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 very good season by Aaron Judge.
And I hate to say it, and I really hope this isn't the case, but if Ohtani was white, if he wasn't a foreigner, and he played on the East Coast, he would get a lot more love. Can you imagine if he played in Boston and his name wasn't Shohei Ohtani, his name was Will Smith? Going up against Aaron Judge, that would be a completely different thing. I think there is.
I actually don't know if I agree with you. I maybe, but at the same time, I think it has a little bit mythical. I actually think it gives it a little bit more mythical edge. The guy, he was a Japanese, like this guy coming over and then just dominating the game. I actually think it's more impressive that somebody can come over and step into this game and dominate the way
I agree with you, but let's not forget the crazy amount of xenophobia going on in our country right now, and we're not going to get into the politics side.
There's no xenophobia. That's made up. Absolutely made up. It's
really?
I don't think it's as big as it is. I actually think Ohtani's getting the love he should be getting, and he's getting across the board. And a lot of these Yankee fans, I don't think they're talking down about him because he's Japanese. I think it's just they want to promote their player, just like every Yankee fan always does. No one else ever existed. It's got to be all about their players.
Yeah, and by the way, Yankee fans, the Yankees aren't the Yankees anymore. They're not that mythical team that they were 25 years ago. Let's not pretend that it's been a quarter of a century since they've been the Yankees. The Red Sox are closer to the Yankees than the Yankees are. God, I'm going to piss off a lot of people with that one.
I hope you do. And remember, he's a Mets fan, guys. Remember that. Don't forget, you should probably wear him out and leave comments about him personally and his fanship, because he's a Jets fan, Mets fan, Rangers fan, and Knicks fan. I don't even know that. It doesn't not make sense, guys.
Well, of course it does. I just hate my life, and I'm looking to make myself miserable at all times, don't you know?
Absolutely, you are one of the most miserable people in sports fandom there is.
It's pretty bad. It hit rock bottom when this David Ardsma guy was one of our relievers. When that was it.
That could have been it. That definitely could have been it. But in case you want to listen to us anywhere, make sure you get on and listen to us. We are on every podcast network there is. Everywhere you want to find the show, go to your favorite podcast platform and search for Closers. We are there. Search for Man Cave Sports. You'll find us. Search for David's Beautiful. I don't know what that'll come up, but it's probably a pretty good search option. You should look for it. But make sure when you're there, you're leaving us 5-star reviews, leaving comments. When you do leave the reviews, it helps out our algorithm and it gets our voices out there to more people. Please leave reviews. Go on to YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on podcast, whatever it is, leave some reviews. Leave comments and we will interact. James generally does a lot more of the interaction, but I'll jump on there and rile some things up. So go find us on podcasts. Go find us at basically anywhere you find your podcast. We are there. If you don't want to see our pretty faces and just want to hear to our horrible voices, you can find us on podcasts.
Excuse me, I've been told that I have a wonderful voice. I've been told that I have a voice and face for radio. Thank you very much.
I get the face for radio for sure. I get that one a lot. People tell me, like, dude, you look good on radio. But what doesn't look good anymore is the Oakland Coliseum. The Oakland Athletics will forever not be called the Oakland Athletics. Going forward, they are getting out of there. And James, I have to tell you, I think this is the best thing that ever happened to baseball. Actually, I'll say this. The best thing that would have ever happened to baseball is if the owners and the city and the state actually got their heads out of their asses and actually put together a stadium plan and followed through with it. And so they can't just blame each other all the time. But the Coliseum is an absolute dump. It is for sure one of the worst stadiums I've ever played in. And they are getting rid of it to go to Sacramento. James, have you ever been to Oakland? Have you ever seen the Oakland A's, the Coliseum?
No, I've never been to Oakland. I don't have a bulletproof vest in order to go to Oakland, from what I've heard. And I also heard that is the shittiest stadium in the history of the world. So between those two things, why the hell would I go out there?
Right. That's a probably really good call. Really good idea. There was no reason to go out there. There was one time the toilets backed up in the Oakland A's locker room and put human feces all over the locker room. That was always a great story to hear. I don't doubt that. It is one of the smallest, worst locker rooms there are. It's one of the worst walks to a stadium, one of the worst experiences. I don't want to be anywhere near that stadium when it was done. I will say this, some of the best fans in baseball, some of the best diehard fans, bar none. Like when that thing is rocking, it is rocking hard, it is rocking heavy. They love their A's there, but they don't love them enough to ever go to games, which is also a problem. This isn't a new problem, folks. This has been a problem forever. It's just that they were really good for a little while. If you watch the movie Moneyball and about the 01 season, don't forget this is before the current ownership, by the way. This is the past ownership. They had to pay for their own drinks. And this is a true story. I played with guys very, very, very close with some of the guys on that team. They had to buy their own sodas. They had to buy their own, if they wanted extra hats and extra jerseys, whatever they wanted, they had to pay for. This isn't a new ownership type of thing. Problem is they had great teams. I was there playing against some very, very good Oakland A's teams, and there were still no fans ever to be had at that stadium. I blame everybody. Personally, I blame everybody.
Why the hell would you go to Oakland Stadium? There's a chance you're going to get tetanus just sitting down on one of those seats. I mean, you're going to get accosted by raccoons from what you hear. There's rats all over the place. Why would you go there?
Well, a lot of that stuff now has become, to this point, once the stadium's in disarray and you know they're not going to come back, why is the city going to put money into it, all that? But it wasn't always like that. You might always get tetanus. But Al Davis ruined it by building the Mount Davis, whatever it is out there. That absolutely ruined it because I loved looking at those old Oakland A's pictures and seeing Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire just dropping bombs in that beautiful green backdrop of the grass. And And there were times when that stadium looked beautiful from pictures, but when I got there, guys, it was brutal. Bullpen's brutal. The everything about it is the locker room, the dugout. It is a great place to pitch, though. And James, I'm going to say this straight up: I've never gave up a run in the Oakland Coliseum.
Well, yeah, because the foul territory is the size of Yellowstone.
I don't know. I'll say this: I don't know if that ever helped me. I don't know if I ever had an out that would have been a foul ball. It's just dead ball at night. There was nowhere I ever played. Well, San Francisco and LA a little bit, Anaheim a little bit, but this is the only stadium where I'd absolutely say you never want to pitch there during the day. Pitch there every single game at night, because that ball, you put that ball in the air, it's like, dude, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
If you get a home run at night in Oakland Coliseum, when you get that fog in, like cold sets in, you're big boy strong.
Yeah, you're Jose Canseco strong, or steroid strong, whatever way you want to call it. Miguel Tejada strong.
Tejada strong. Yeah.
Also steroid strong.
Well, I don't know. Was he on it?
Yeah, Tejada was a steroid guy.
Oh.
I think he got, if memory serves, he got popped when he was with the Orioles.
Yeah, but that was it wasn't. I don't know what PED it was. It wasn't one of the old like originals. I remember that because I gave up. Was it the Royals? No, it was Royals. I don't know. I think I gave up a double to him or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of somebody else. Andrew
Listen,
Jones. I don't.
Here's
I gave up a save when I was at the Mets. It was my first save opportunity at the Mets, and I gave a save to some adult bet, and they got popped like later on or something. And, give me my save back.
Here's the bottom line. Oakland is out. They're not going to be there anymore. They're going to Sacramento for a couple years. Then they're going to Las Vegas. Let's hope that they don't trade for CJ Abrams, and they'll be just fine.
CJ Abrams. The dude. Okay, so for everybody doesn't know, CJ Abrams decided when they were in Chicago on the Nationals. If you don't know who CJ Abrams is, go check out the Juan Soto trade. He was one of the big, huge pieces in the Juan Soto trade. He came from San Diego to the Washington Nationals. Huge player this year, was an all-star. He really struggled the second half, was right at the Mendoza line, but at the same time, he's a young stud, an absolute stud, and will be a superstar in this game. They're in Chicago. He decides to go out gambling a little bit. No big deal. He goes to the casino. Yeah. And he stayed until 8 a.m. Okay, pulled an all-nighter, but the problem is Chicago. And what do we do in Chicago? We get day games. And they had a 1 p.m. day game. He was photographed into casino at 8 a.m. Bro, James, what is your first thoughts when you're hearing that a Major League Baseball player is in the casino at 8 a.m. before a day game?
My first thought is, thank God they don't have any really big-time veterans on that team that go up to him and smack him around and tell him, hey, you're wasting your career, because now he's got that stigma on him.
Yeah. That's probably one of the biggest problems. So full story, full disclosure, the team finds out, obviously. They bring him in, immediately send him down to the minors. Well, there's only a couple games left of the season. They're basically like a big FU, like, learn, you young pup, you're going to have to go down and do nothing for a couple days, then go home, go on vacation. But it sends a shot across the bow. It sends a massive shot across the bow that you're not above the rest of this team, which I absolutely love. I love this because that's how you change and set a culture, is nobody is above the team. Nobody is above the team, and we are all here. You are the superstar on this team, and you are going to get punished just like as if you're nobody, right? So they send him home. I don't think the egregiousness isn't the 8 a.m. And if you can still come to the ballpark the next day and perform, I've never had a problem with what you do. Never had a problem. If you can come to the ballpark and be ready and to catch that ground ball, to get that base hit, and I can rely upon you, I do not care what you do. I played with guys that do party and do stuff, yada, yada, yada. But when they come to the ballpark and I know like they look strung out, that's when I have a problem. CJ going to the casino, staying until 8 a.m., I don't necessarily have a big problem. I do have a problem with that, what you just said. It sets a tone now that's who you are. Mm-hmm. That's what you do. And gambling and being at a casino is more important than your job, which you only have like 5 more days left.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, because the Nationals haven't been in contention all year. So about the All-Star break, he's probably thinking like, screw it.
They were actually in contention. They started to be in contention right after the All-Star break. They were actually pretty good where they could have gone on a run. I'm going to throw that out there. I'll double check that.
That's bullshit, because they weren't going to go on a run because they have to compete with that juggernaut, the New York Mets, in the same division. So let's not pretend that they were going to contend ever. If you can't tell from the tone of my voice, I'm being completely facetious. Yeah, I don't know, man. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh, look, we only have a month of the season left and, I can take it easy. I remember you telling me about a story about a player who basically said, why am I going to try hard for this bunch of stiffs? That always hit me the wrong way. And for a young guy to do that when you're supposed to be giving it your all so you can set the tone, you can show, hey, I'm the future superstar, I'm the future face of this organization, and I'm going to show you guys how it's done. But now, instead of being that face, instead of being that leader, instead of being the future, you're the dumbass.
You're the dumbass. You're the guy that they look back and go, man, what could have been? I'll say this. They were playing about 500 ball from July 1st to mid-August. They were playing about 500 baseball. So they were playing good enough baseball to actually start getting some attention and start competing. They might not have been super contention, but they were playing good baseball. But yeah, you're losing. You lose the guys below you too, right? So the guys around you say, that's not our leader, man. That's not the captain. Like Jason Varitek, when I was in Boston, he wasn't going out like that. He wasn't you knew every day where he was. Like Ichiro wasn't necessarily a big leader, but he was a big leader by how his actions were. Mm-hmm. And he was prepared every day. Like every single team, Jeter's action. Like he got called out too by the boss a couple times, right? But they called him out because the play on the field wasn't matching how his lifestyle was. Would at times have to adjust and change, and maybe there were some words there about, hey, don't mind your own business a little bit, but at the same time, you always knew where his core was, and always came back. And so that's one of those things. This is a young pup. He's going to have to learn to lock it in a little bit, and maybe not be so focused on a 7-2 split and maybe going for it when you shouldn't be. Just fold and go home, man.
I'm just hoping that teams do that with players who aren't young. Meaning, if Bryce Harper was still a National and he did that, I would hope that Rizzo would do the same thing to Bryce Harper. I don't think he would have, though.
I don't know. I would say this. What it does deserve at the very least is a strong conversation. Strong conversation with the leader on your team, with the captain on your team, and where you step back and say, is this how we act? Is this who we are? You are no longer just you. You're us. You're the organization. Is this who you want to portray as who we are? And there are times where I've had conversations with the captains of the team where they've had to pull me aside and had conversations saying, hey, where do you want to be going in your career? And you step it up and you change or you don't, right?
Mm-hmm. I hope that he comes back to the team next year and becomes a leader. I hope he actually learned his lesson, because there's usually two ways this can go. Either he can become the guy that we all hope he's going to be, or he can say, screw it, I'm CJ Abrams. I'm going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread and continue to be a jackass.
Well, I don't even think he's a jackass. Just don't act jackasses. Jackasses. Just don't go to the casino till 8 a.m. Yeah. Right? Just don't go into the public. If you want to be partying till 8 a.m., do a party till 8 a.m. I don't like it, but do it. Do it in the
hotel room.
In private. Do it in private, man. Do not do it where somebody can take a picture of you. Go out till 1 a.m. It's a 1 a.m. game. Oh, sorry,
1 p.m. game.
It's a 1 p.m. game, dude. Knock it off at midnight. Go home. You're gonna go to bed 1. You're gonna not get a whole lot of sleep anyways. And and that's the problem with Chicago. And that's the trick in Chicago that you don't have in Washington is on Friday night. Don't go out. Don't go out. Go grab a drink, grab some dinner, go home, and just at Chicago, call it early.
Look at our friend David Wells, the former Yankee pitcher. The guy was hungover when he had a perfect game, but guess what? He threw a perfect game. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Go out and get drunk the next day if you're going to throw a perfect game.
And that's the difference. When you can come to the ballpark and perform and get it done, people step back and they turn a blind eye to it. There was also David Wells in 1998 or whatever the hell it was, and Saturday Night Live, where everybody goes, oh, okay, Wells is partying in New York. Who cares? That's what happens. They don't all take pictures of you, post it on the if he was on the back page, every day doing that, like he wouldn't be in New York anymore, right? And if he wasn't performing, he wouldn't be in New York. The moment he stopped performing, he would have been out, and he was. But other guys that are in currently and ex-New Yorkers, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, these guys are pulling off some miracles here. It's an interesting conversation about NFL quarterbacks and these guys sitting and then having success in their careers. James, are you seeing a trend here? Are you seeing something that that we haven't seen before, where these guys they're sitting for significant parts of their career, then stepping up and being able to play and play at a high level?
From everything that we have been told throughout the years, the NFL is significantly faster than NCAA football. So if you're a quarterback, you 9 times out of 10, unless you are Peyton Manning, who coincidentally threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his rookie year, but forget about that for a second, you need to sit back and learn how to read defenses a lot quicker in the NFL. There is no reason why you should throw a first-round draft pick and make him start immediately, because you're going to ruin those players. Usually, if you have a high pick and you get a quarterback, that means your team is awful. The cupboard is bare. So when Sam Darnold was a New York Jet, there was nothing around him. We didn't have any wide receivers. There was no running back. There was absolutely nothing. So what was Sam Darnold supposed to do? Throw to who? Is he looking in the stands and throwing to me and I'm catching the ball in the stands? Because guess what? I was just as good at catching the ball as some of the wide receivers on that team.
That's probably a fact. You're probably as good of them. No, in all reality, no matter how bad those guys are, comparatively, they're pretty amazing. At the same time, I do think there's a problem there. I think there's a problem in these NFL teams constantly drafting the next greatest quarterback and just throwing them into the same problem. And what we're seeing right now with Caleb Williams, we're seeing with the Chicago Bears, where Justin Fields was the high-touted quarterback, and they brought in, and they never actually made significant changes around him, and he struggles. And you start actually seeing him getting a little better and a little bit better, but then they move on from him to the next greatest thing, Caleb Williams, which I actually think he is an incredible talent. Talent, and he might prove us wrong one day, but he's going to prove us wrong once that team gets better. And not once Caleb Williams adjusts or something. They just need better team around him, better line, better wide receivers. They actually got some decent ones, but more younger wide receivers. Some other problems. There's so many other problems. I have never been a big fan of drafting the young quarterback. I've always been a big fan of setting your team up for success, finding the free agent quarterback that's not going to make big mistakes and just hold on to the ball, give you a good couple touchdowns here and there, but not turn it over, not fumble it, not intercept it. And then you draft the young stud. Then you pick up the dude who's going to be that final piece. Let him sit, let him watch, let him Aaron Rodgers it, and then you take over the job when that dude's like, all right, dude, I got the system. We're ready.
You said it right there. Let him Aaron Rodgers it. I'm going to name some guys for you. Ready? Steve Young. Did he start?
No.
There was a guy named Joe Montana there?
Joe Montana.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I believe that's the professional way of saying it.
Aaron Rodgers. There was a guy named Brett Favre there.
Favre.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
John Elway.
I said right now.
Right now, Patricia Mahomes.
No, Patrick Mahomes. Come on, it'd be nice. We know his godfather. If his godfather heard you call him Patricia, what would he say to you?
You go, Ards. And just give me a look. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Roy. I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Patrick Mahomes' godfather is your former teammate, LaTroy Hawkins, our boy.
Our man.
We got to get the Hawk on here soon. Anyhow, did Patrick Mahomes start?
No.
Right away? No, he didn't. Jordan Love, who's got a big contract now, did he start right away?
No. Jordan Love. I always say Jordan Love.
Yeah, so if you see these guys, what they're doing, you have to sit for a little while so you can learn how to read an NFL defense. And like you said, have the veteran over there. You know what I would love right now? I would love for the Jets to re-sign Sam Darnold after the year. Sit behind Aaron Rodgers 1 year. And when Aaron Rodgers is ready to retire, we have Sam Darnold again. But they won't do that. The biggest problem with the NFL, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, is the way they structure the contracts, because you have 5 years basically where they're really, really cheap, and everybody's trying to get that quarterback on the cheap, but you usually don't have a team. So why can't you make some sort of extended franchise tag where after year 3 you can re-sign the quarterback for 3 or 4 years, arbitration like in baseball, so you can hold on to him and give him the support that he needs? And I bet you a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't mind that if you said, hey, you're going to sit for a couple of years, but then if you show what we're going to do, we're going to make you one of the top paid quarterbacks in all of football, but you just have to be patient.
They need an NFL minor league system. And this is, again, I'm an advocate for it. I've been screaming for it years. They all need a minor league system so they could go and increase the draft by 5 rounds. So then they can actually draft a quarterback, let him sit in the minor leagues, develop, learn that next level, and then you plug and play. Then you learn how to get these guys in. You're going to get guys on the NFL side being healthy longer and having a place to go if there's struggle for a little bit. And you don't just have to have these hard conversations of cutting a 23-year-old man and saying, God, he had a bad 2 weeks. We have to cut him. Send them down. Have a system where you can actually bring guys up and learn. And oh my God, develop. And so we get some of the best talent we've ever seen never play the game because they weren't good the first time they stepped on the field. And what happens is these guys, like a Jordan Love and Sam Darnold, maybe not Jordan Love on the same level, but Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, where they actually sit there and learn and go through it. And they just luckily kept their job around because they were just good enough and they're smart enough and they're a great system guys. And then all of a sudden they get an opportunity and they're good. And so that's where I have a problem with the NFL is that it's so blind. And everyone goes, oh, college, they're developed. No, they're not. College isn't development. College is about winning, and college is about getting players for their development and for their system. And so I don't know. I've always said this. I that would have given Tim Tebow an opportunity to show you that he wasn't a great quarterback earlier and that he needed development or time just to show you he wasn't all that great of a quarterback, but it would have given a chance for everybody to see that versus having to start these players. I always throw the Tim Tebow thing out there, but in all reality, it's about other players. It's about 99% of the other players that you just need some more time on, man.
I've got a question for you. You play fantasy football, right?
Yes, sir.
How many Panthers do you have on that team?
I got Hubbard.
Okay. How many would you like to have on your team?
I mean, 1.
Okay.
Is there any other Panther?
No, that's my whole point, though. That's my whole point. Who is surrounding Bryce?
There's a lot of disciples around Jesus. There's
stop.
Those, okay.
The quarterback for the Panthers, that got benched already. Bryce Young.
Bryce Young.
Yeah. Who is he throwing to? Who's running the ball? Who's his offensive line? Like, you're sitting there like, oh, he's a bust already. The cupboard's bare. There's nobody on that team. If you had a Ryan Tannehill on that team that could get a little more talent out of those wide receivers and that running back and let him learn behind an established veteran, maybe you might have something. But right now they're at a point they're going to ruin this kid's career.
They're absolutely ruined the kid's career because there's no development, there's no process there. They got rid of McCaffrey when he had the opportunity. They got rid of it. They got rid of everybody that could have had some impact on him. And that's my problem with this is you're taking these guys, you're throwing them into bad situations, and you're making it worse, and then you're trashing them as how bad these players are. They need some time, man. They need some time, and that's what we're starting to see. And it's actually interesting though. Right now, the NFL in the quarterback position it's the youngest it's ever been. Mm-hmm. This is the youngest the league has ever been for quarterbacks at an average of 27.6 years. And this is the lowest passing the NFL has had in a long time on average. It's also the highest rushing that per game, 124.9 yards, that it's had ever since 1987.
Look, everything in sports is cyclical. So everybody was going and throwing touchdown passes and diminishing the role of the running back. Guess what? For the next couple of years, the running backs are going to feast, and hopefully that'll get them paid because they deserve to be paid. They've gotten abused over the last few years. There's no reason why Saquon had to beg the Giants to give him a contract and then they eventually go to Philadelphia. But yeah, the quarterback play right now sucks.
Well, it's not that. I don't know. And the thing about it is quarterback play sucks But it's really, I think, a big giant shift to the defense adjusting to the quarterback play and adjusting to the rules and finally catching up, right? And I think it's too, the refs are catching up. The refs are letting them get a little rougher with the wide receivers. They're allowing them to play football a little bit more, and it's equaling out. And then so you're having this big shift in football to where they're passing less, they're running more. And it's a change in the dynamic. The offense is trying to find something that works versus these defenses, and sitting there just passing, 40 times a game isn't working the way they want it to.
Yeah.
But, if these quarterbacks wanted to improve their arms, they'd be talking to me. They'd be messaging me and Top Velocity Pro, and they'd be sending me a message on any of my platforms. Top Velocity Pro on basically every single social media platform. Send me a message if you want some help, if you want some development, if you want to get better. While there's a minor leagues and Major League Baseball, there isn't in football, but I can help you. I can help you get better. I can help you develop you. Top Velocity Pro, we're built here to build pitchers. And if you just have a question about pitching, have a question about delivery, you want me to look at it, you want me to look at your kid's delivery, send it to any of those social media, send me a message. I will message you back, and we will text, and we will talk about pitching. James,
let me ask you a question.
Don't send me your delivery.
No. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I am curious. If I came out to Arizona to visit you, and let's say I was there for 5 days, and you and I worked 5 days straight, knowing that I'm a complete amateur, I've never pitched on any sort of level, how much do you think you'd be able to increase my personal velocity?
I would have to see your first velocity. What is your initial velocity?
Right now, if I had to guess, probably about 70.
I think 70. I will say this. We'll do this. This will be fun. James, you go out, find somebody with a radar gun, and film it and throw it.
Nope. The only people I know with radar guns are cops, and I'm not letting them anywhere near me.
We will find a place. Well, I've got a baseball facility. I got facilities on Long Island because I know Brooklyn is a part of Long Island. So you just drive over there. You won't even have to get on a bridge once you're in Brooklyn. It's actually part of the same island. So you can drive over there, and we can get you on a radar gun, and we'll film it. We'll put it on the show, and then I will give you my full analysis of what I think.
Okay, but you forgot one thing. I don't live in Brooklyn anymore. I live in Staten Island, so I would have to get on the bridge.
That's true. God dang it, James. I will find a place in Staten Island.
You'll find a place in Staten Island? All right, cool. I'm in.
I will find a place in Staten Island. We'll do this. Or Jersey's right there. I'll get you over to Jersey, preferably Staten Island. I know how you're snob for Jersey. And so I will get you over there, and we will analyze it. I will do it. We'll do a session.
Wow, I wonder if I could actually get it up to 70. I might not be able to.
Whatever you're at, I guarantee you I'll get you more.
Oh, see, if you're going to guarantee, can you at least wear the Fred McGriff hat?
I guarantee it. But one person who did not live up to their guarantee, Diana Taurasi, when she was challenging Caitlin Clark and saying, this league's basically going to eat you up. You are not ready for this league. Caitlin Clark has basically shoved it up the behind of the bottom of every single WNBA player this year. She is Rookie of the Year officially. I don't even understand why there was even a conversation about it. She is absolutely dominating. And so the WNBA, what they obviously do is they go out there and they send out a tweet where they're talking about previewing the WNBA playoffs, because of course you take the worst league team in the league and you get them to the playoffs. That's what the number one pick does every single year. But Caitlin Clark absolutely did that. When they're showing that, James, if you're the WNBA, who are you going to promote as the Indiana Fever superstar?
Let me think about Caitlin Clark, maybe?
No. Right? Why would they do that? Why would they put Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be seen. It is not Caitlin Clark. I don't even know who it is, but it doesn't even matter. That's the whole point. I don't even know who it is. And Caitlin Clark, the Rookie of the Year, the face of the franchise. The Indiana Fever, by the way, outdrew the Indiana Pacers this year.
Get out of here, really?
They averaged 1,000 more fans per game, and that was just home games, than the Indiana Pacers did this year. And this lady isn't even on the WNBA's tweet about the team.
This is the stupidest crap I've ever seen. I saw your tweet. The only reason we're talking about this, despite our producer Alex constantly talk about Caitlin Clark, we need more Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, right.
But I saw your tweet. And you were showing that tweet that they previewed the WNBA playoffs, and there was only one person that I recognized from those pictures, and that's only because she was at the Fanatics Fest. I had no idea who those other ladies were, but I know who Caitlin Clark is, and the vast majority of Americans have no idea who these ladies are. They only know Caitlin Clark. So instead of promoting Caitlin Clark, you promote somebody else. When Michael Jordan was a rookie, he was on the David Letterman show. They didn't put Stacey King on there.
Yeah, so Brittany Griner's on here, right? Brianna Stewart. I kind of sit here and kind of recognize them. I am not a big basketball guy. Definitely not a big WNBA guy. But I'll say this: the first player I've ever given a crap about watching is Caitlin Clark, because she's doing the only thing that's transitional, right? It is the Steph Curry, the transition. Like, it's, if there's any ability in the game that can go to the NBA, it's shooting, and it's shooting from way outside the arc and doing things that's impossible, and shooting from the logo and stuff like that. That you're seeing one player where Steph Curry, he changed the NBA for forever, like for this whole generation. He made 3-point just no longer just a one guy shot it. Everybody shoots it. You shoot it from everywhere. You can't guard it. It's more points per shot if you increase your shooting percentage. Who cares? Just shoot 3-pointers nonstop, and you're going to win NBA basketball games. And that's what he did. That's what he's doing. Caitlin Clark's the one player I've been able to do that's been able to just shoot. Just give me the ball, give me the rock, and I will make this shot. And in a close game, in a tight game, in a blowout game, it doesn't matter if she's got the rock. James, I'm going to throw some stats out there, okay? So Caitlin Clark, who was told again by Diana Taurasi, who this is my opinion, but she 100% got her off of the Team USA because she could not have. There's two reasons. One, she didn't want anybody to take away her thunder, and two, that stops Caitlin Clark from matching her Olympic history. So she now is going to miss 4 years of Olympics and be one behind Diana Taurasi. She will never be able to match Diana Taurasi because she missed this one. And I gotta watch out for these Italian girls. Yes. So Caitlin Clark is number 2. Okay, I understand this. So in the league, games played, she is tied for first. She played every single game this year, tied for 40 games. Number 2 in minutes per game. Okay, so she's on the court. She is on the court a lot. She is number 7 in points. As a rookie, she almost averaged 20 points a game, 19.2. She was 7th in points. First in 3-pointers made. First in free throws made per game. Whatever. It's just a stat. It's on the board. I'm going across. 23 in rebounds. Is that high? Not really. It's kind of like whatever, right? As a point guard.
Yeah.
As a point guard. Number 1 in assists. Okay? Doing her thing. 18 in steals. And 26 in blocks. So she's basically a completely all-around player.
Ards, it doesn't matter, though. You can throw every stat at me right now. Now you're starting to piss me off. You can throw every stat, but it doesn't matter. She could be number 5 in everything. It doesn't matter. She's the only marketable player that league has. And if she's not the only one, then she's in the top 3, top 5, whatever the case may be. You tell me right now, if they put Sabrina Ionescu, or whatever the hell her name is, on HBO Max tonight in a special Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu 3-point contest. Is anybody watching that?
No.
Is anybody watching if it's Steph Curry versus Caitlin Clark?
100%.
That's the point.
Sabrina. I don't know about Sabrina.
Yeah, she's the only one that I recognized from that picture that you sent on Twitter.
She's not even. That's so awesome. She's not even in the picture.
But the point being is, she's marketable. You're trying to grow the game.
I don't know. Is that Sabrina? I don't think that's Sabrina. Is it?
I don't know if it is. I think it is, but I'm not sure because I never watched this shit. But do the right thing and promote the right players.
I mean, that's where we're at right now. I don't even know who's. I thought that was Brianna Stewart. That's Brianna Stewart, dude.
Sure. All right.
Brianna Stewart. It's not. You're right. It's Ionescu.
Okay. See,
that's where we're at with this. All I know is Caitlin Clark's not on it, which is so ridiculous. Why do you hate her? Who is controlling this? Because if I'm the WNBA, here's the thing: she's a cash cow. She is the money. She is the face. She is it. Like, she's got support. Like in every other league, if that player was through, like you'd be like, yes, we are pushing you. I don't care what anybody thinks. Why do you? This is where I'm trying to figure out. We know that WNBA players don't like her. We know it. And we know why. Caddy, she's taking away the fans. She's bringing a whole nother element to the game that only care about her. You can say because she's white or because she has a boyfriend or whatever. There's a million different things that people are saying about it. You can hate her for whatever reason as a player. If you don't like the attention, if you don't like that she won a college championship over you, or that she got picked first and you didn't, or whatever, or she talks a little trash. She's got a little Michael Jordan-esque where she's not afraid to let you know. At the same time, play the game right? And she's not dirty. But why? Why does the WNBA care? Why does the WNBA care about what their players think? That's what I can't figure out. If the players have a problem, the league shows that's your problem, man. That is your problem. We're here to make money and make the league better. And this is the only thing that's made money and made the league better is her. And they should be promoting the living hell out of her.
I don't care if a player is black. I don't care if they're white, brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, and Haitian, whatever. They can belong to the Zulu Nation. If you know what that reference is from, put it in the comments. The only color I care about if I'm the WNBA is green, because that's what she brings. A ton of green. If I was the commissioner of the WNBA, I would wear a freaking Caitlin Clark jersey 24/7, 365, because that girl is going to ensure that I'm going to make more money.
Go to the NFL's, go look at the NFL. Look at every single pregame video of NBC does, CBS does, ESPN does. Go look at anything the NFL produces. Go look at anything the NBA produces. Go look at anything Major League Baseball produces. And all you're going to see some very familiar faces non-stop. Watch anything on the NBA and see how many times you see LeBron James, right? Yeah. Anything from a couple years ago, it's Steph Curry, LeBron James. It's basically it. And then you're going to throw some other guys in there, KD, and then you're going to throw some other guys. You know, Major League Baseball, it is Judge and Ohtani nonstop. And it should be. You go to NFL, and I mean, the preview for the season, the NFL showed the Taylor Swift like 4 times more than anybody else. At the same time, Taylor Swift is bringing in money. They are not afraid to just say, okay, we'll play this card for as long as we possibly can. And they start showing Chiefs players like randomly, all the Chiefs players like Kelsey and Mahomes, and it's just nonstop. But you get it. And I get why. They're the Super Bowl champions and the number one most spectacular billionaire girl singer in the world who brings a whole nother dynamic in is right at your fingertips. Play it. And you got the girl that everybody wants to see, and you're not even promoting her, brother.
You got the golden goose, and you're killing the goose.
You're killing the goose. Frustrating. But Caitlin Clark, you can come on to the show. We'll promote you. We love you, and we actually think you're a pretty good basketball player, too.
I've heard you're pretty good. I wouldn't watch it because I can't watch it. I can't stand watching the WNBA. But yeah, you're a marketing machine. You're a cash cow. So I love you.
I will challenge you to a blindfold 3-point contest, and if you stand in the box and try to hit a fastball.
I don't think so. I wouldn't stand in the box when you're throwing a fastball.
But to everybody out there, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit comments, tell all your friends, tell your mom about us. She will like us. She'll think we're really sweet guys. So please go out there, tell everybody, but hit the like button. And yeah, James, I had a lot of fun.
Me too. I always have fun talking to you.